all things international students that don't relate to your visa status or your immigration status. We are here to help you find resources, to connect you to things across campus, and to help you make the most of your time here at the University of Washington. So I'm here to help you as the Assistant Director for Undergrad Programs, and I am very excited to be meeting you all. I'm going to kick it over to Sange, who will introduce himself now.
Hello, everyone. I am Sange, the student event manager. For those of you who have attended some of our virtual Husky welcomes, you might have already met me. I work at Circle as a student staff, and I usually help out with the RCG program, as you can see here, and our events that we run throughout the year. When I'm not working and helping out at Circle, you can find me in the statistics department. I'm a rising senior majoring in statistics, so if you had any questions about courses or the major or just about mathematics, um, well, feel free to reach out. And I'm very excited to have the pleasure of presenting this session with Marion today.
Yes, and Sange has been with Circle from every step of the way. He started out in the RCG program just like you guys. Then he joined us as a volunteer. He started working as one of our student event coordinators, and then he was a PCL like you have in your RCG program with you right now. And now he's our student event manager. So he knows every aspect of what it's like to be involved with Circle and what it's like to be an international student here at the University of Washington. So he's a great resource. Also in the room today, not presenting this part, she'll be presenting for the session in Mandarin after this, is our executive director, Dr. Dan Ju. And Dan, if you don't mind just saying a quick hello for everyone else in the room, that'd be great.
Excited to be here. The very first session for RCGs. I will be presenting the Chinese one in Mandarin. For the second session, for those of you who understand Mandarin Chinese, and if you would like to stick around, I will see you in a bit. But I will be in the chat to answer questions.
Thank you so much, Dan. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started now. Thank you all for introducing yourselves. Sange, you have the slide power, so you need to, there we go. This is our schedule of events for the RCG program. So you may have seen this, your peer connection leaders might have sent this to you in an email or in your RCG group chat. If you haven't seen it yet, no worries. This is what our program is going to look like. We're here in the red square. This is our course registration session. We have core sessions that are run by fellow students, the PCLs, peer connection leaders, and we have featured sessions, which is what you're sitting in right now. The core sessions are going to be really useful to you. These are going to be the ones where students are telling you from their experience what it's like, what you need to know. The featured sessions, we're going to go in depth on some other aspects of life at UW, be it course registration or how to get research opportunities or scholarships. We're going to talk about your insurance and healthcare here at UW. We're going to have a special presentation by International Student Services about arriving and what you need to do when you arrive and after you arrive. And then we'll talk about some of the stuff that you don't hear a lot during orientation, like how to make really informed decisions for yourself and your academic career, how to get the most out of your time here at UW beyond just your academics. So I hope that you'll come to the featured sessions. I really hope you'll go to the core sessions. Those ones are going to give you a lot. And then we also have some fun weekend sessions. These are basically time for you guys to hang out, get to know your PCLs, get to know each other. This is where you might meet the people you become friends with for the rest of your time here at UW. Sange actually met his best friends, three of his best friends, in the weekend sessions during his RCG program. We'll get together, we'll play some games, we'll get to know each other a little bit. It's a relaxed, fun time. So I also hope you'll join us for those. This is a public schedule, so you can, if you have the link from your PCL, you can bookmark this and come back anytime to see what's going on when. Okay, so we are going to start with the first part of our session, which is how to register for classes. We're going to take you through some of the most important pieces that you need to know, and then Sange will walk you through the actual mechanics of doing it. So there's three big websites and tools that you're going to use here at UW when you think about registering and when you think about planning for your academic career. The first one is my.uw.edu. And by the way, when we say UW, we mean UW. It's kind of slang here that we just shorten it to UW. So if you hear people saying that you don't know what it means, that's what it is. So my UW is the portal for all UW business. So that's where everything happens. You can load up your Husky card with money for printing. You can change your contact information. There's all kinds of stuff that just like business related stuff that you can do on my UW. My plan, this is a similar sounding one, but totally different. My plan is basically how you search for and plan out your courses and your major and all of your academic schedule for 1 quarter at a time or your entire 4 years here. Think of it as kind of the supermarket that you're browsing for your academics, and then you can kind of fill your cart there, and then you'll go to register.uw.edu for checkout. Register is the actual course registration portal. You can't register from my plan, but you use that to get yourself figured out, to find out what you want to do and to lay out all your different options. So these are the three big websites that you're going to want to remember. You're going to use them all the time. So my plan is the one we're going to focus on most today, and this is going to be the primary tool that you use to find your courses, to plan for your registration. It has a lot of different functions. The most important one we're going to talk about today is searching for courses, but your PCLs will talk a lot more about my plan and everything you can do with it in course session number 1. So this will be a really good session for you to attend. I know that the PCLs are planning out when they're going to hold their course sessions. So if they haven't sent out the actual times yet, they've probably sent out a poll to you to figure out when they're going to hold their sessions, but make sure to come to this one. It's going to be really helpful. And I'm going to hand it over to Sanjay now. He's going to talk a lot more about what we're actually doing in my plan.
Thank you very much for the introduction, Marion. So as we get started with how to use my plan, how to search and register for courses, I think that we'll take a moment to slow down and talk about some key concepts. I remember as an international student, and you are probably coming from a very different education system. There's probably going to be some words that are going to get thrown around a lot that you might not fully understand. The two main words we're going to be looking at are Gen Ed, which is short for general education. This is a university requirement. So general education requirements are specific credits. So classes at the UW, some of them may be classified under what we call areas of inquiry. And so the general education requirement at the UW is that you need to fulfill a certain number of credits in each area. This number will vary depending on your exact college, but the areas are called Arts and Humanities, or ANH, Natural Sciences, NSC, Social Sciences, SSC, Diversity, DIV, Reasoning, RSN, English Composition, C, and Writing, W. For the most part, I think from their names, you can kind of imagine what kind of courses you might be taking in order to fulfill these general education requirements. And I think it's a really nice feature at the UW, largely since it gives you an incentive to try all sorts of different courses. The next terminology we'll need to familiarize ourselves with is prerequisite. Prerequisite directly means a requirement before. And so prerequisite courses are courses that you need to take before you can take another course. And prerequisite courses are typically found in what we call course sequences, where some courses need to be taken in a specific order. A very common example is Math 124, 125, and 126. And when registering for some sequences, you are recommended to take a placement test to be able to better identify whether or not the sequence is the right place for you and whether or not you should be moving forward. And so I've sent a link here. It is a very helpful resource put together by one of our students at Circle, where you can read all about the placement tests at the UW. Of course, if you are coming in and transferring AP or IB credits, you will be eligible to skip forward and have move ahead in the sequence for some courses. This is most common in the mathematics sequence for 124, 125, and 126. Now that we have general education and prerequisite courses out of the way, let's start getting into what it actually looks like. So on your MyPlan website, under the Find Courses tab, this is where you'll be getting access to the MyPlan search bar. Here you can use the search bar to search for a specific class, for example, putting in Math 124 or English 111. You can look just by a specific department, just type econ for economics or maybe uh, psychology, or you can type a general education requirement like SSC. And sometimes you can even go with the keyword. If you don't have a specific course or a requirement in mind, you can type medieval literature and see if there's any course with those words in their description. Of course, after you search for courses, there are many, many filters, whether you want courses at a specific time on a specific quarter, whether you want courses that are at a certain level, like 100 or 200 level, or maybe you just want only 3 credits, a course of 3 credits just to round out your schedule. So, like Marion gave with the example, think of this to be your shopping cart. You're just going around down all of these aisles at the grocery store, trying to figure out what kind of courses really fit best in your plan, and just filling up your cart with them. Now, as we are at the grocery store, hopefully no one just puts random things in their carts. You like to take a look at what you picked up. And so that's what the course overview page is like. You take a look at what exactly the course is about. Here you can see a summary of what this course aims to cover. You can see prerequisites, which are courses or things you need to complete before you can take this course. You can see the quarters it's typically offered or it's being offered right now. And more importantly, under the course summary, you'll be finding sections. Now we'll take a closer look at what these sections are. In these sections, you'll see that there are certain parts here, and first and foremost, if you are interested in taking a course, you will be selecting the plus button on the side of the section that you're interested in. However, there are a few other important things to note. First of which is the estimated enrollment status. This tells you how many spots are there in capacity and how many spots of that capacity have been filled out. Naturally, you cannot sign up for a course that's already been filled out, but we'll talk about what you can do about it in a moment. The schedule line number is relevant for registration. It is not the only way that you can register, but there are situations where it's helpful to take a note of this number, and we'll go into how this number is used for registration in just a moment. The bell icon, which you can see next to the plus sign, is what you can use to sign up for notify.uw. This is a service where you give the university either an email or a phone number, and they will send you a message or an email whenever a spot opens up. This is a very helpful way just to keep track of maybe a popular course that you were interested in that unfortunately filled out. And lastly, the key icon, which you can see here. This won't be there for every course section, but you will see it here and there. And this is an indication that you need ad codes to register. Think of ad codes like a password to get into a super secret section. Now, the reason why you need an ad code or how you can get one, you'll always find by clicking this drop-down arrow here and clicking View More Details. And of course, we'll teach you all of the tips, tricks, and strategies we have for acquiring ad codes in our RCG course session number 3. Once you have all of the courses and the sections that you're interested in, you'll move ahead to registration, which is happening at register.uw.edu. Now, before you can get to the registration, there's the pre-registration. This is not to worry, this isn't too insane. This is a very light step. It's going to take you at most a few minutes. And the idea of this is that you just want to fill out some information. It's just some legal acknowledgments. You want to accept or decline certain optional charges. You'll be asked to confirm the address that you've registered at the university under your profile. They'll be confirming your emergency contact information. They'll ask you whether or not you're interested in participating in the Associated Students at UW, which is ASUW. And most importantly, your choice for international student health insurance plans. As an international student, uh, this is mandatory. You will need to sign up for iShip, as we call it for short. The choice that you have here is whether or not you want your charges to be quarterly, which means that the health insurance plan will only cover the quarter for which you pay, or annually, which will cover for the full year. We'll go into more details later, but the general rule of thumb is that if you are taking the summer as a vacation and returning home, it is recommended that you take the quarterly plan. However, if you'll be in the US and you are not taking any courses, the annual plan is highly recommended. It's always better safe than sorry. And our executive director, Dan, has shared a link in the chat, which has a demonstration video. It's a very short video that'll show you what the pre-registration steps look like. And I trust that it'll be great at validating my claim that it's a very simple, straightforward process. Now, once you get through pre-registration, you'll get to the registration channel. Here, as you can see to the right, you'll have your cart, your registration cart, in fact. And now you can either choose to select import from my plan, which will automatically take all of the courses that you've added to your my plan shopping cart. Or if you memorize the serial line numbers or schedule line numbers, the SLN codes, you can fill them out here and add them manually one by one. Once you have it all set, you'll have an option to send it, you'll have the option update schedule, and you'll be complete, and it'll look something like this. So it'll just show you, this is the course, you're fully registered, that's the credits, meeting days, times, instructors, make sure everything looks correct and that you didn't sign up for the wrong time section. If for whatever reason any of the courses that you selected or any course section has an issue, it will give you an alert and just let you know that something's wrong. But all of your other courses should go through without any problem. Now, before we move on, I will give a quick demonstration of this whole process so that it's a little easier. I feel like, me personally at least, I definitely learn a lot better by seeing a live demonstration. So here I have your My Plan homepage. I'm going to go under Find Courses and, as I promised, the search bar. And we'll just take it easy. We'll say we're interested in an econ class. I don't really know what class, so I'm just going to say economics. I want to do economics as my major. No real clear idea. Now I see here that some of these are summer, some of these are autumn. I'm not here for summer, so let's say I just want the autumn quarter filter. And let's say I don't think I'm quite ready for a 400 level course yet. I'm going to just go 200. Okay, I have some options here. Says 201 has a prerequisite, Econ 200. Okay, I'll start with Econ 200 then. So I get a quick, nice summary of what's going to happen in this class. I see, oh, no prerequisites? Great, that sounds like it's perfect for me. Commonly offered autumn, winter, spring, summer, so there's no pressure. I can see the general education requirements. All right, everything looks great. Let's scroll down, and as you can see here, there are a few options. There's section A, B. They both seem fairly open. There's a maximum of 450 spots. So I'll say, okay, give me section A. So I added. And now this is an important bit, and our PCLs will give you a more comprehensive answer if you join RCG course session. But I will also need to select a quiz section. So let's say, okay, this one's closed. There's no hope. Let's try AD. Everything looks good.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've added a quiz section and a quiz section. Now let's go to my autumn quarter. And yeah, my autumn quarter looks good. I mean, there's a small time conflict, but let's imagine that's not there right now. Okay, everything looks great. Take me to register.uw. I'm ready. I have my shopping cart. It's all set. I want to see. I've already completed the pre-registration steps, so no issues there. And now, one thing I will ask all of you to keep in mind as you register in future quarters, make sure that the quarter displayed in the top left corner here is the right one. It is for autumn. That's what I'm interested in. So I have everything set up. So I'll just import from my plan. And aha, two sections have issues and cannot be imported. I wonder what's wrong. Now, if you remember in our example, it tells me here in this warning that this section has a time conflict with the registered section 407A. Okay, let's just leave the quiz section for now. And let's just select another one. This one looks perfect. Let's just go for it. And we'll see. There, no more warning signs. When we go back, import from my plan. We'll load a little bit. I suspect that my plan isn't really happy with the idea that I'm trying to take around 7 courses right now. Okay. There's also the possibility that sometimes it just needs a moment to refresh. There we go. There's our econ sections. And now I'll say update schedule. Over credit limit. It would take me way over the maximum 19 credits. So this is a great chance to see that, oh, well, that's a good reminder. I really shouldn't have taken that many. So that is a quick demonstration of what it's like to go through the steps of registering for courses using my plan and register.uw. We will have sections, especially course session number 1, where we go into much, much greater detail about what that process is like. Now I'll hand it off back to Marion.
Thank you, Sange. And I just want to reassure everybody that although this is a lot of information all at once, you are going to have your hand held for this first registration to some degree. You are going to do your first registration in your advising and orientation A&O part 2. You will be walking through this with your advisor, so you will get registered for courses for your first quarter without any worry, but this is going to help you figure out what you want to register for and help you for that next quarter of registration, winter quarter, which you're on your own for. So don't panic. We've got you for this first quarter. You're going to get into some courses. So as we are moving through this, I just want to do a quick little summary of what we've just gone over in case you were came in a little bit late or just this was a lot of information thrown at you all at once. We just went over how you register for courses, how you find classes. We did the first step, which is to search using My Plan. You browsed the shelves of the grocery store of the University of Washington. You picked out your favorite ingredients. You put them in your cart. You're walking around figuring out what it is you want to make for dinner, right? That's what you're looking at here. You probably picked backup classes. Maybe you got some, things that you're not sure were your first choice, but in case something goes wrong or you didn't get into one, you've got some stuff that you can try out for your first quarter if you don't get into your favorite classes. We also learned about pre-registration. This is going to happen every single quarter. Every single time you register, you have to complete pre-registration. It's not that bad, like Sange said. It's really quick, but you cannot register until you do it. So you need to make sure you do this every single quarter. And then we learned about how to actually register, what that looks like. You're going to go to My Plan and you're going to follow those steps. You're either going to go directly from your cart, import into My Plan and update your schedule or register. You're going to either do that or you're going to put in the SLN, that schedule line number, and do it manually. So you've got these 3 big takeaways from the first part of the session. And like we have said in the comments, these slides will be shared eventually. It takes us a little while to get them up on the web because we need to make sure that they're accessible and meet accessibility standards. But eventually you will have access to these. And again, your PCLs are going to be able to give you really in-depth answers. I saw a question about whether or not people can ask questions in their native language. That is exactly what your RCG groups are for. Your PCLs, your peer connection leaders, are in there because they are from your area, they speak your language, and they are available to help you one-on-one if you have direct questions that you want to ask them. If you're not in an RCG group yet, just let us know and we can give you the link to sign up. So we're going to move on to the next bit. We just want to share a little bit of important info before we do that, which is a couple of things that you're going to encounter as you go through. One, course levels. You may not be familiar with these, but courses are set up with different levels starting from 100 to 500 and higher. As undergraduates, you're mostly going to be looking at courses in the 100 to 400 level. They basically correlate with difficulty. If you are interested in taking a graduate course at some level, at some point in your academic career, that's not out of the question. You will have to get departmental approval, talk to the professor, something like that, to make sure that you can get into that class. Really important. As F1 visa students, you are only you are required to take a minimum of 12 credits every quarter. Every regular quarter, you have to take at least 12 credits to maintain your visa status. You are only allowed, of those 12 credits, to take one online course. So, hybrid courses that have a physical requirement, those count as an in-person course. But if you're taking 12 credits, one of those courses oh, I'm so bad at explaining this. I get this flustered every time. If you're taking 3 courses, for example, and those 3 courses are each 5 credit courses, right? That's 15 credits. But one of those courses is an online course, that's okay because your 12 credits are already met and you're only taking one online course within those 12 credits, okay? So the easiest way to think about it is you have to take, quote, at least 12 credits and only one of those classes can be online. If you want to talk through that a little bit more in depth, we can talk about it with your PCLs or afterwards, but that's the basic rule of thumb. And then there's a couple different grading systems that you might encounter in classes at UW. You're going to talk about that more in core session number 2 with your PCLs, but just be aware that you might come across a few different ways of grading. Okay, so we've talked about how to register, and we've gone through the mechanics of my plan, and now we're going to talk about what to register for. This is the part of planning and figuring out what it is you are interested in doing. And this is where you really get to be in the driver's seat of your academic career here at UW. You get to control your destiny and choose what works for you. This is maybe different than some of the academic environments you've come from or might be used to. In the US, there's a lot of freedom in our academic system. So you have the ability to kind of pick and choose and change as you go. You are not usually locked into anything. You can often change your mind. So just keep that in the back of your mind as you go, that you always have options and you always have opportunities to try a different path. So we want to talk to you about dividing up your planning in a couple of different ways. Looking at it from a big scale, that large scale, and also the more granular small scale, right? So when you think big, we're going to be thinking about majors, minors, your 4 years, looking at the long term. When we're thinking small, we're going to look at which classes you want to take each quarter at a time, okay? And we're going to think about that in terms of how to meet your big goals. Your small scale supports that big planning, but that's the more day to day. So some of the key things that I want you to keep in mind as we go, we're going to talk about what majors and minors look like. We have a couple of different key terms that you're going to hear throughout all of this. An open major or an open minor, that means that you can declare or enter that major or minor at any time in your academic career, depending on what the requirements are for it. Minimum requirements. This is meaning you can declare that major or minor once you meet those small minimum requirements. Maybe you need to have a 3.0 GPA to enter the real estate major. Maybe you need to meet a few courses before you can enter something. That's the minimum requirement. Capacity constrained, that means it has an application cycle and it's competitive. They let people in. You can't just join it at any time. You have to compete for the seats that are available, and you have to also meet requirements. The minors, there's a lot of different minors. They're a great way to take courses that you're interested in without having to compete for a major. This is really a good idea if you are really looking for one of the more popular and more difficult majors to get into. For example, computer science is one that can be really difficult to get into, but there are a lot of different ways to take computer science courses and to learn and play around with that. And minors are one way to get experience in something that you're interested in without having to go through the major application process. The major admission requirements are not determined by the University of Washington as a whole. They are determined by each department. Okay, so they're all going to look different depending on which department they're in. They each have an if they're capacity constrained, they have an application cycle with deadlines. Those are unique to the department. They may not all match up. So you want to make sure that you're checking what they are for each major that you're interested in. They will have unique prerequisite courses and other requirements like GPA. And there may be other admission requirements that they require, like tests. Some of them have personal statements or essays or other extracurricular things that they're looking for. So when you're thinking about your major and you're thinking about all the things that are involved, you want to look at all of the different pieces and talk to students who have done it so that you get a really good understanding of what goes into that. All right. Sange, can you walk us through how to think about and look for different majors?
Thank you very much, Mary. So the idea is, yes, you want to split your planning into large and small. I've just shared a link in the chat. This is going to take you to a list of majors at the University of Washington. And so the idea is natural. You want to make a big plan, but you need to know first where or what really do I want to try. So on this page, as you can see here, you can take a look through all of the majors divided into specific departments and specific colleges. So the College of Arts and Sciences is by far the largest college here. We'll find so many different majors. Natural sciences is where my beloved statistics waits. And there's also a little bit of symbology that you need to pay attention to. The fully open and hollow circle represents open majors, which, as Marian said, can be declared at any time. The minimum majors are represented with the circle with the dot. This one will require that you finish the basic requirements set by the department in order to declare the major. And lastly, the fully filled out circle represents capacity constrained majors, which typically have an application process and do not accept all applications. So here's a nice way to take a look through all of your options, and if you select one of them, you can filter out to see only capacity constrained or only open and minimum. So we're taking a look here, and my top recommendation is set your sights on a major, and if it is capacity constrained, take your time to think about other similar majors you might opt for. I know there are a lot of, for example, students who apply to the computer science and engineering major will also consider ACMS, statistics, or informatics as a potential backup plan in case it doesn't work. Now, on the next topic of big planning, you'll need to decide which majors you want to start with. And then you'll need to research its prerequisites and its application process to figure out how you're getting there. Of course, you can figure all of this out by Googling UW, fill in whatever major, undergraduate admission. Now we'll take a moment, share a major or a major you're interested in the chat, and we'll do a quick live demonstration for one, maybe two majors, and then we'll see what we get. All right, let's see. Political science. We'll take political science, because I think that's interesting. Let's see, still not. Stick a random one. Physics. We'll take physics and political science. Don't worry, you'll have plenty of chances to see what that experience is like. And you can apply the steps that I'm about to apply here to whatever major you're interested in. So, UW, political science, undergraduate admission. Political Science, Office of Admissions. Okay, great. So let's see. We open with, okay, tree types, open, areas of interest, curricular options, international security, political economy, All right, let's see. African type first years. Political science is a minimum requirements major. You may declare this major after enrolling and completing the prerequisites. That's great. So all you really need to do is figure out what prerequisite courses you need to complete. Visit the department website for more information. Ah, I see. Now here's the common pitfall that you might fall into, and I've fallen into plenty of times as a new student. I went to the wrong website. This is the Office of Admissions, which just gives you a more general idea. All right, let's see. Perfect. College of Arts and Sciences. Um, undergraduate programs, let's say a major. Okay, so let's see. You've got some options. Political science, poli-sci, international security, and poli-sci, political economy. So suggested courses, they say develop writing skills, breadth of knowledge, some introductory statistics, and your admission requirements, which is what you really want to pay attention to. These are your minimum 2 GPA, three courses, about 15 credits, and you need at least a 2.0 GPA in them. And students are admitted all quarters. Applications are due the second Friday of each quarter. All right. Additional information available at this room and hall. And who meet the standard stated requirements are admitted in time to register for the following quarter as majors. So what this page immediately tells us is that, hey, you need to finish three courses from the list that they've given. You need to have at least a 2.0 GPA cumulative across all your courses. You need to have at least 2.0 GPA in the three courses they listed. And you will need to submit your application to declare your major by the second Friday of each quarter. So an important distinction to make is that admission requirements will tell you what you need to declare or apply to the major. Completion requirements are what you need to graduate successfully with that major. So it's very important that you consider both sides of the equation. So now you know what courses to apply, what courses to complete, and what you need to do to get into the major. And now, as you can see under completion requirements, you need to finish all of these courses and maintain a GPA in order to graduate with this degree once you have it. So what this gives you is your big plan. It tells you these are the courses you need to finish before you can declare the major, and these are the courses you need to finish after you declare it so that you can graduate on time. And now I believe the other major we decided to go with was physics. So let's just replace poli-sci with physics. Let's go to the right website this time. Perfect. College of Arts and Science Physics. Let's see. Okay. Matter, and you can see all of the examples. So admission requirements. So two pathways, standard and early. So either you apply after completing a full year of college level classes, or early admission, which is appropriate for transfer applicants who have completed their physics series at the time of application. Okay. So the admission requirements, again, similar to political science, you see the courses you need to finish, enrollment in, okay, so you need to enroll in at least one physics lecture course above the 220 level during your application. And for capacity constrained majors like physics, the admission cycle and admission deadlines is something really important to consider. So you need to apply by either April 5th or October 5th. You need to make sure you have all of the courses required completed by this point. Whether or not you can take a requirement when you're applying really depends on the department. And this is a good opportunity to reach out to them and ask. And as they state here, meeting minimum requirements does not guarantee admission. Admission is capacity constrained based on a holistic review. And here it tells you everything else you need to submit. A personal statement, academic performance measured by GPA, and your graduation plan. So you need to, this is interesting, I didn't know this actually, but you need to have your graduation plan, which is all the courses you plan to take, filled out in My Plan, printed to a PDF, and submitted. So after that, you have your completion requirements, but the idea is simple. Hopefully now the takeaway that you get from this is how to figure out how to find what courses you need to take to apply to a major and what courses you need to graduate with the major. And so what I recommend is as you do this, you just kind of jot down, take a list of all of the courses you need, or use an Excel spreadsheet. And once you have this big list of all of these courses you need to take, you should start considering planning them, deciding when you're taking it, and the rationale behind why you're taking it in this balance. So I'll show you a sample plan. So this is a student coming with no AP or IB credits who wants to major in statistics, mathematics, or ACMS, somewhere in that range. So as you can see here, the courses have been planned out for every quarter in the first year. They're taking courses that they know will cover the admission requirement for multiple majors, which is our top recommendation. So they're taking Math 124, which you need for all three majors. They're taking English 111, a required composition credit. If you remember, these are general education requirements. And they're taking CSC 122 in the fall quarter. Additionally, they are also balancing the amount of classes they're taking, acknowledging that the first quarter can be a little tricky transitioning and getting used to the quarter system and a foreign country. They made sure to pace themselves. They are taking three courses. They're making sure they're staying at about 14, 15 credits. They're not overloading. They do overstep a little bit in their first year winter planning, and they've taken 18 credits. Whether or not this is a good idea and how well this will go will depend from person to person. But the idea is that at the very least, what they did do right here is that they've thought about what courses they need to take so that they can apply in a timely manner. And as I stated earlier, it is a good idea to plan in this way. I will talk about some tips, which is focus on a major that you're interested in, but remain open to exploring. Consider other courses in other departments. Even if you're not planning to major in them, there's a lot of value to be gained from expanding the width and breadth of your knowledge. And if you're unsure of the major that you want to apply for at some point, then you should take courses that we call common courses, required by many different majors, like Math 124. If the major you want is capacity constrained, definitely plan some backup majors. Other majors that are similar to your desired major that you can reliably complete the prerequisites for without having to take 18 credits every quarter. The other important thing, and this extends beyond simply applying to a capacity constrained major, but GPA and extracurricular experiences are both very important for major applications and for a solid college experience. You should not neglect either of them. And if you cannot take a course that you need at the UW, you can take it at a different college. However, you will need to confirm with the department first, just to make sure that the credits can transfer all right and that there will be no hiccups. Now I hand it back to Marion to talk about small planning.
Thank you, Sange. And there are a number of questions in the chat that I think you would be great at answering. So if you get a chance to get in there. So that was all very helpful, thinking a big picture, thinking about your majors and what that might look like for you and how to think about it. Another thing I want to point out is that during ANO Part 2, you are going to meet your advisor. You are going to get their information. You're going to be able to set up a one-on-one appointment with them. And this is a really good resource for you to talk about and think about how you want to plan things out for the future. A lot of the questions you guys are asking in the chat, the default answer is you're going to talk to your advisor about it. You will want to meet with them pretty regularly to plan these things out and to think about what your different scenarios will look like. If I take this course, how does it affect this in the future? If I want to go for this major, but I'm taking this class, how does that work? They're going to be the ones who are going to be able to really help you look at all the different options and scenarios and figure out what is the best course for you, and so that you can make that decision for yourself. So thinking more small scale, looking at your, quarterly planning, once you think about or decide on a major or an area of study that you want to focus on, you need to start thinking about which classes you actually want to take, which courses, and when you want to take them. So this is where playing around with my plan, looking at the different offerings, talking to your advisor, that's where this is going to come into play. We recommend that if you haven't already gotten directly into a major, some of you might have been admitted directly into a major, we recommend that you start with those prerequisites and gen ed courses that are going to be more commonly applied to lots of different majors so that you're keeping your options open. We also want you to think about not overloading yourself in your first quarter. A lot of students come in and they're very excited, and you really are gung-ho about your major, and you're like, I want to get into informatics, so I'm going to do this now, and I'm going to like double down on everything, and I'm going to take 18 credits in my first quarter, and this is all I'm going to focus on. And I'm here to beg you to reconsider and to take it easy on yourself in your first quarter, to think about, okay, here's some basic building block courses I can take. How do I start that out while also maintaining some balance and getting used to being one in another country and two at university for the first time? This is going to be a new experience, and that first quarter is going to be a lot of change. So we want you to focus on easing into your university experience. So looking at those gen ed courses, looking at those prerequisite courses, you're going to be there with a lot of other students who are experiencing the same thing. So think about that. Speaking of being with a lot of other students who are experiencing the same thing, slide change, please. I want to talk to you about something called FIGS. This stands for First Year Interest Group. Okay, first year interest groups are a really cool option that the University of Washington has. And these are basically a cluster of classes that you take in your first quarter with a cohort of other students, and they're based around interest areas. So this is a really good way for you to get to meet other students who care about the same things you care about, who are interested in the things you're interested in, and to go through that first quarter experience together. You're all experiencing this big new change together. You can find FIGs to meet any kind of interest you have. The commonality is that you're all going to take one general education class. It's going to be the same. You're not taking them all, the entire first year cohort together, but each FIG is going to take this general education class that teaches you how to transition to college life, how to, adjust to being a university student, and to get you kind of set up for success. You're all going to take that one class, and then you're going to take subject area classes and things that you're interested in. FIGs are a really, really cool way to adjust to that first quarter and to get some really common prerequisites under your belt. So Sange is going to open that up so we can see what the FIGs, searching for a FIG looks like and how you can find ones that are interesting to you. So we've got this FIG website, and you can get in there and you can play around and find things to match any interest you have. So specifically for College of Engineering and the Information School, the iSchool, there are specific FIGs for you as an incoming student. So keep in mind that you are required to take those specific FIGs, but if you're not in those schools, you can search through here and find anything you might be interested in. So let's say we're looking for, let's look at the topic area, Sange. Let's scroll down a little bit and find something under topic on the side there. Yeah, let's say, because I did social science, so let's look at social science. And let's see, maybe you're interested in economics and composition, right? So you love math, you love econ, but you also love writing. You could click on this FIG and you could see, okay, so here's that general studies class that I'm going to be taking with everybody else in this cluster. But there's also these 2 econ courses and 1 English class that we'll all be taking together. And these classes together make up your schedule for that first quarter. The beautiful thing about a FIG is you don't have to register for each of these courses individually. You take that SLN that's right there under the economics and composition title, and you plug that in to your registration.uw.edu, right? Register.uw.edu. That is what registers you for all of these classes. So figs are a great way to, one, fill your schedule with things that you're interested in, and two, get to know people a little bit in the process. There are some figs that are not going to be 12 credits or more. They're going to be maybe a 5 credit or 7 credit thing where you're just taking the Gen Studies class and one other class or something. They're not going to be a huge comprehensive set of courses, but that means you can take those couple of clusters and then fill it with other things that you're interested in, right? You don't necessarily have to do everything in that one fig. So I really recommend playing around with this website, poking around to see where you're interested in, to see, what might work for your first quarter. Sange, do you have anything to add here?
Well, I'm just responding to this question, but I'd like to add that not all figs have like a full set of courses. Some figs are just the Gen ST 199, which is the most common course. It's a simple seminar, and if you don't really want or don't really find any fig that has the exact courses that you really want to take, you can sign up for one of these. I believe that if you go here and you really narrow down this one, for example, out of state dogs. This is just a seminar class. So if you are an out-of-state student and you're interested in having a small cohort of other out-of-state students, this is a nice FIG to sign up for. Doesn't really restrict you from taking other courses and gives you that FIG experience. That's all I'd like to add.
Great. And again, your PCLs can really help you with understanding FIGs. And each of those general studies classes, they're actually led by another student. So for example, Mei Chen, who is one of our peer connection leaders, who is in the room right now, lurking, and will be helping to run the session following this in Mandarin, is a FIG leader. And she helps guide students through this Gen Studies class and get them prepared for that first quarter. So it's a really nice way. It's a really nice way to get adjusted to DW, and I really recommend it. So, as a reminder, you are not going to register on your own for first quarter. You are going to register during A&O Part 2. So do not miss your scheduled section. It's required for you to attend A&O Part 2 both days, and they do take attendance and they do pay attention to who's there. So make sure that you set that time aside. And we will join you the morning before you register, just to help you, remind you again what you're going through, and then you're going to meet with your advisor in a small group and go through that together. So you will get registered, don't worry. We also want you to pay attention to the university campus when you're thinking about what classes you want to take. This is a tip from students. This is a lived experience that students have had. The UW is a very large campus. It's not easy to get across it if you have classes on one side and then classes on another side. There are only 10 minutes between classes, so it is hard to get where you need to go if your classes are spaced really far apart. Sange is going to share in the chat the UW campus map, which you should use when you're considering your class schedule. Look at where the classes are. Look at the timing of them. Can you actually get from point A to point B in the time that you have? Do you need to pick a different schedule so you have time for lunch and time to, to decompress from a class? These are things you want to keep in mind as you're planning out. I know one student who keeps a printout of the campus map on his wall behind his computer when he's registering so he can check where all of the buildings are. So just keep that in mind. As I said before, a lot of students come in and are really tempted or jump right into taking 18 credits in their first quarter. We really recommend that you don't do that. I can't stress that enough. How many students come in and tell me, I'm taking 18 credits and it's going to be great and I know exactly what I'm doing. And then they are so stressed by the end of their first quarter. We really want you to ease in, to enjoy your first quarter. There's so much going on in the fall at UW. There's so many social events. There's so many activities and opportunities for you. And you're going to miss out if you're really stuck focusing on your academics. This is the first quarter of your whole academic year, 4 years. You have a lot of time to take classes. That first quarter only happens once. So take advantage of it, ease yourself in. And I really can't, champion this enough, but attend the core sessions run by your peer connection leaders. They have been through this. They all know what it's like. They all have lived experience navigating this transition as an international student. They've all come to UW and figured this out the hard way, or, learned from their friends who went through difficult experiences. They know what questions you have. They know how to find the answers, how to help you figure it out. So I really want you to attend their core sessions. It's going to be super helpful for you. So, our key takeaways from today. I know, again, it's been a lot of information that we've thrown at you. You're probably feeling really overwhelmed. More questions than answers, I'm sure. The good news is that we're here for you for the rest of the summer and beyond. We're here at Circle to help you with this for your entire time at UW. But we have programming for you this summer to help you answer these questions and figure out how to get the answers you want. So today, I just want you to focus on a few things. One, you learned how to use My Plan to shop around for your courses, right? You know how to browse, you know how to read through things, find the details. You know how to register. You know the steps of registration. You know what's involved in that. You know there's a couple different ways to do it. You know where to find the details and how to check them, okay? Read through them. These are going to be important as you're looking at courses because there are going to be different details in different courses that might affect your decisions. And finally, you should understand how to search for and understand these different requirements for different departments, majors, and minors. This is all going to help you going forward. It's not meant to overwhelm you, but these are the sorts of things that we want you to keep in mind as you're going through your first quarter and beyond, because again, you are the driver of your car here at the UW. You are the one in the seat making decisions. So we want you to know how to make good decisions. So these are the things I want you to keep in mind from today. Again, eventually we'll have these slides up for you. But in the meantime, if you have specific questions, you can always reach out to us. You can always reach out to your PCLs. And finally, we want to invite you to join us again for our official kickoff. I know this session came first, so that's a little confusing, but this year our kickoff is this coming weekend. So these are in Seattle time, so you'll need to go to a time converter and make sure that you know when this is happening in your local time. But we are officially kicking off our RCG program this weekend on July 10th and July 11th. This is a fun way to get to know us, Circle, all of your PCLs, the peer connection leaders, to learn about the RCG program and what we have coming up, and to get to know each other a little bit. And we have games and prizes that we will be giving away. So I really hope that you'll join us. It'll be great. And we're just really excited to welcome you guys to the University of Washington and get you set up for success. So we will continue to answer questions in the chat, but we are going to end our session here because we're going to switch over to the Mandarin session. But Dan, do you have anything else that you want to add?
I just want to add one thing. We have quite a few exchange students here. I am so sorry we didn't really specify what this information particularly geared towards. We just assumed the students are here are our first year freshman students as well as our transfer students. So for those of you, if you are an exchange student here, let me set a survey. You don't necessarily have an assigned major. Your first quarter course registration would go through study abroad. So work with the study abroad office directly for your first quarter course registration. But everything else we talked about in terms of not major planning, but course registration, right? The shopping cart, the pre-registration, the checkout process, and the registered UWW, all of those information are relevant to you when you have to register classes on your own, starting winter quarter throughout the rest of the year you have at UW. But again, please stay in your RCG group chats and we will be continuing to answer your questions, and thank you for pointing that out.
And yes, I saw a question. The kickoffs are the same. They're just offered at different times because you're all at different parts of the world, right? So you can come to either one. We will all be at both of them. So we look forward to seeing you there. And I just dropped the link in the chat. If you haven't joined an RCG group chat yet, the link is there. You can find the one that works for you. We have one for exchange students and we have one for transfer students as well. Transfer students, you can join your regional one and the transfer one if you like. Everybody else, we ask you to stick to one group and to please not share those links publicly. We're trying to keep them safe and keep you all protected and respect your privacy. But we'd love to see you in the group chats and we'd love to see you at kickoff. So thank you, everybody.